Okay, good evening, Hayden, Idaho. I'm calling to order our regular city council meeting. It's Tuesday, May 26, 2026. It is approximately 5:02 p.m. May we get a roll call of council members, please?
Council President DePriest.
Here.
Councilmember Erickson.
Here.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Here.
Councilmember Roeder.
Here.
Abby, would you like to lead us tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, regarding additions or corrections, we are not going to go into executive session tonight, so that is stricken from the agenda. And we are going to start off with a Historic Commission Award. So, Bill?
Thank you, Alan. Mayor Davis, for changing the agenda for us. But I am Bill Breezy, the Vice Chair of the Hayden Historic Preservation Commission. And just as a reminder, if you haven't heard this before, the month of May is National Historic Preservation Month. And part of this celebration of this month, our commission is offering an award, a Historic Preservation Award. I'd like to start by thanking those in the community that submitted a property or a building for the 2006 Hayden Historic Preservation Awards. We've reviewed all the submissions and selected the Armory Outpost on Government Boulevard for this year's award. So if you want to join Chair Judy at the front, you both can go up there.
Go down it, or? Okay, fine.
Yeah, go on. You're the owner. And Mayor, would you like to get
I'm
a photo
hobbling
op?
these days. If you guys are okay, I'll sit. Is that all right?
Sure, you bet.
Council's eager to see this as well.
Oh,
so.
yes.
Oh, nice. Look at the frame on that thing.
Bill tell you a little bit about it.
You know, the commission, the commission's comments on the log style cabin of the facade, which has basically remained unchanged over time, along with various owners and tenants being changed. It's shifted hands a few times, but basically the historic character has remained, and we truly, appreciate that and want you to know about it. So. Okay, so you've got the award?
Yes.
And pictures taken? I do want to add that the picture frames, or the frames were made by former mayor of Hayden, Scott Purcell. He did this utilizing the old barnwood from the Lake City Dairy. And that wood is, we believe, to be about 100 years old.
Wow.
So upgraded yours from last year as well. So now you have one that has significant wood to go along,
nice.
with the award. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, last year, this is our second year award for those of you that don't know about it. We did it the first year for the city of Hayden and the saving of the Stoddard Farm and turning it into a city park. We are planning on this being an annual event from here on out. So for those of you who've been around, and I've bugged them for submissions and everything else, we still would want you to submit the unselected applications. We want to make sure that they reapply next year as well. So we expect the community, members of the community to submit, because we want to hear from you folks what you like. That includes you up there on the dais and staff. So with that, I'll sit down and you can continue on with your meeting.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also wanted to add that I'm a big fan of the Armory Outpost.
Me too.
I've been a customer there a couple times, and I'm really glad you guys are there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The perfect tenant for that building, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I just really want to note the fact that the Armory facade is a facade, and the buildings have been there since 1919.
Wow.
So it is a historic structure.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, we're going to move to our next presentation, which is our 2026 Arbor Day Sticker Contest Award winners. And I believe our third place person is here tonight, Kylie Wallach. Is that true? She's a fourth grader at Hayden Canyon Charter School, and she has won 2 movie passes at Hayden Cinema. Thanks, Ed. Okay.
She said, come with me.
Here. There.
You want a photo op with both the kids when they're done, so.
Sure.
And maybe the mayor and council with them.
So we're going to take a little break for that.
And for Suvi Kokonen, fourth grader at Hayden Canyon Charter School, she took second place, and she also has got 2 movie passes at Hayden Cinema. And I think she's not here tonight, right? Yep, very good. And this year, our grand prize hails from North Idaho Christian. She's a 6th grader, Rebecca Finley. And Rebecca has won a $50 Visa card, a big bag of stickers of the winning design, and a t-shirt with the winning design on it.
All right.
It's not the right one?
Whoops, hold on, time out.
Yeah, seriously. Right. Just a bag of 9 mil.
Yeah.
This is, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, we have a small administrative issue with the certificate. We'll get it to you, but I think the
government.
goodies are here. And the goodies have the right name on them.
There we go.
There, we good? There you go. Thank you, very nice.
You want to hold the shirt up so we can see the design?
Is there a shirt in here? Sure. Oh, it's on the shirt, very nice. So somebody taking pictures?
Yes, we need to get the other little gal up there, the winner. And then, I don't know if we want.
How about we just stand up here?
That'd be great. 'cause this is-
Then we don't have to exclude the mayor.
All right, I can stand.
Go
And
ahead, go ahead,
Ellen,
go ahead.
as part of our Parks and Recreation.
There you
person,
go.
we can get it in there. Great.
Can I get one too?
Congratulations, everyone. Okay. Guess we'll fix that later. All right, all the fun stuff's done. I have to move on to the hard business of the city. We're going to start off with our consent calendar, which consists of approval of April 30th, 2026 special city council meeting minutes, approval of May 1st, 2026 joint city council and Hayden Urban Renewal Agency board meeting minutes, approval of May 12th, 2026 city council meeting minutes, approval of Shelley Holloway's nomination to Veterans Commission, approval of Ron Dool's nomination to the Parks, Recreation, and Community Forestry Commission, approval of the 2026 Hayden Days Entertainment Agreement with Kelly Hughes, approval of the Deferred Improvement Agreement with Nathan C. Bemis, approval of notice of award to American Road Maintenance for the 2026 chip seal project, approval of PZE 25-0080 Sycamore Valley subdivision preliminary plat written decision, ratification of bills paid, and approval of bills for payment. Tom, do you want to make a motion?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. I would like to move that we approve the consent agenda as written. Furthermore, as read, and furthermore, I would like to recuse myself from voting on item 2I because that was heard and by the council when I was not present here as on dice.
Okay. So with that, there's a motion made.
Second.
There's a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? May we get a roll call vote, please?
Council President DePriest?
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson?
Yes.
Councilmember Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we move on to visitor public comment. Do we have anything, Abby?
Nothing has been submitted, Mayor.
Okay, and no one from the audience wishes to speak tonight? Okay, we'll move on then to a commission report. And I believe Malia is here tonight.
Helen is.
Helen is, very good, sorry. To provide us with the report.
I could say I'm Aaliyah, if that helps. Ms. Mayor, council members, community members, staff, my name is Helen Paris, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Rec Commission, Parks, and Community Forestry. Our commission meets monthly in an advisory capacity to the mayor and council. We're focused on parks, recreation, and community forestry. I was about to say we currently have 5 commission members, but as of about 3 seconds ago, we now have 6 commission members, and so that gives us 1 opening, and so we're still looking for that last seat to be filled. Our top duty is to advise this body on policies, projects, and priorities in these areas. To that end, we've formed several subcommittees that I know you've been made aware of throughout the year. The first subcommittee that we have is city code amendments, and we initially explored a joint roundtable with other commissions. That's been a real learning process for us to figure out what the rules and regulations are, and so we kind of recalibrated ourselves, and now we are just looking at how to ensure that what responsibilities we do as a commission coincide with what's currently written in city code, and if there is some abnormalities, then we're going to try to work through staff to identify those. And then we're going to put an end to that subcommittee. The second subcommittee that we've had ongoing for several years is the pickleball courts. There is, as you know, pickleball's been around since the 70s in Seattle, but it's the last few years just really has exploded all across America. With the evolution of Hayden Canyon, there will be pickleball courts there, but that is many, many years down the road. And so the commission has been working with staff to try to see if we can identify any area in the Stoddard Park community where we could potentially put some courts in. So that's currently what we're working on. No promises, no nothing. We're just looking into it. And there is a manufacturer here locally, so we're hoping that we can get them to step up a little in some positive way.
Selkirk, right?
Yeah, Selkirk. And really explore bigger issues down the road on that. The next subcommittee that we have is park signage and the website. This kind of started when we were at a kite festival about 1.5 years ago, and you can't get to Broadmoor if you don't know it's there. It's hidden inside of a subdivision. And many people don't even know that it's a city park. They believe that it's just a community enhancement to that greater subdivision. And so it started off by us saying, could we just put a sign out on Ramsey that says, or on Atlas, that says where the park is? And then that started a whole discussion that signs have to be of a certain magnitude and blah, blah, blah. And so then we went around and we started looking at all the signs, and there is no uniformity within the city because signs have been built when land has been acquired. And so we're hoping that down the road we can create some standards that can be utilized, that whenever a park is opened up, that park might have those minimum standards, and if a sign gets blown up for whatever reason, that we look at the future of that. So that's a subcommittee that we're looking into. And then we kind of did a sidebar and looked at, well, what do parks have? And maybe we could just put URLs like when we go to the restaurant and we hover over to get our menu. Maybe there'd be a way we could have some of those at our parks so that people know how to reserve a park and what to do. So these are all conversations we've been having with staff, trying to clean up the website so it's not just a website used by staff, that staff knows really well because you use it every day, but makes it user-friendly for all of the citizens of Hayden to better use it. So, and we, again, all of these subcommittees we want to put to bed. We only want to create something if we can offload some of the work from city staff. And then the next subcommittee that we have going on right now is called the Bike Trail Map and Connectivity. One of our commissioners says, I break things into pebbles and rocks and quarries. And she said the first thing we can do is just create some basic road maps so that we have on city streets the park or the sign that's reflecting what are city parks. And then we're hoping on a larger scale that we establish a vision here within Hayden that says whatever community is being developed, that maybe we start looking at it from a planning perspective, planning commission onto city council with the guidance that let's not forget about walking pathways and park lanes wherever possible for bikes to be utilized, and we at least create a loop around our city. And so we're trying very hard to see what we can do to help, again, just help and guide in that process. And then the last participation that our commission's been currently working on is two of us were a part of the McIntyre Park Plan that we are hearing about tonight. And we've been in the process the whole way through. And I know you're going to hear about it tonight. We're excited about what's going on. We also have heard the needs of the community with regards to the baseball issue and that field. That has been raised from the get-go with us, and the commission feels very strongly that this park is a showcase for the downtown, for our community as a whole, but that the current plans represent a cross-section of need of all of our population centers, which is the goals and the direction of Hayden, in our 2020 study. But we also believe that if it's going to take X number of years to make this park a reality, that maybe in those same X number of years with some of those parklands that we have identified, and Donna's given me many discussions on about where we need to have land, but we don't have monies for those, that there is a dream where we can accommodate not only the whole city park as well as the dream of these kids, because we never want to isolate one group out from another, and maybe we can just bridge the gap to work together. And then moving forward, our commission works very hardly on some projects with city staff. Arbor Day just happened, although it was canceled, we still met the needs of that by reaching out to the city schools, and they were all given their little seedlings, and so it fulfilled our need to be still a tree city. Second thing we did is we had a kite festival just recently over at the park that nobody can find, and over 400 kids were there, and it was a really strong outpouring. It's a very successful program. On the 24th of June, we will be doing the bike rodeo over at the library, and bike checks happen, safety checks. There's an obstacle course, and Kootenai Health comes over and helps us with helmets for kids. So it's really a kind of, the recreation department here busts down all the doors come summer, and they're just doing a tremendous amount of stuff for us. Last thing I'd say is that there's two community events that the recreation department works closely with, and that's Hayden Days, and there's an RFP out on Hayden Days right now to hopefully get a new beer garden vendor out there. So if anybody's listening, answer that RFP. And the second thing is we're hoping that someone will answer the RFP for the commission concession stand down at Honeysuckle for the summer. So that's my report.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions, council?
Sorry, I was told not to talk too long. I apologize.
You were just,
it was great.
You were just fine. I do have some comments. The Kite Festival was a blast this year. I think that was the biggest turnout I've seen since being elected. And for once, we actually got a little wind.
Little wind.
It was nice.
At the right time.
2 years it's been dead. So it was really nice. This was just a thought. I have no idea if it's a good one or a bad one, but in the future, I know we're acquiring or have acquired land in the vicinity of Miles for parks. Maybe that could be the future. Baseball could be integrated to that. I don't know. I want to encourage council with the upcoming events. The bike event might be a good thing for us to get out and, have the public see us. And lastly, I absolutely love that you're looking at bikes, health, connectivity through the city. It was a conversation that has been popping in my head for quite a while as to how to make that happen. So I'll be excited to see what you guys do. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
One question. Speaking of bikes and health, I wanted to follow up on the beer garden.
Yes. That is a very important part of our health.
Can you elaborate on what you're looking for? Is it an actual brewer, or is it somebody who has a liquor license that can provide?
So Susie, you want to take this?
Yeah, where the request for proposal is on the website, and it has all the conditions of what we're looking for.
Got it.
Brewery, we're just accepting proposals right now.
Got
So
it.
any proposal for any beer and wine garden, get it in.
Okay.
What we talked about, David, at our last, the last two commission meetings, because I said, we have a tremendous amount of small little breweries within town. I said, why can't we have a little beer off going on, and get some of it would be very well received, but I think somebody's going to have to knock on some doors. I just don't know all those people, but I think that's a golden opportunity. The senior center did it for a while, and it just wasn't, it didn't work for them. But I just feel like this is such a golden opportunity, and when we redo the park, it'll just be an opportunity beyond belief. So I would love to see multiple vendors come out, bring their beer license for the day and chug it down against each other, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And then get on your bikes and ride. No, please don't do that. It's not legal advice. All right, we're going to move on to new business. Our first item is an action item. It's J 2021-0114, Marks Ranch subdivision extension of preliminary plat request. Our applicant is requesting an extension, and the causes for delay, or supporting causes for delay in the completion of the project. The applicant's also identifying that the remaining phases shall be completed in a final phase. So with that, I'll turn over to council for discussion.
Seemed pretty straightforward to me. I don't have any real comments on it.
Okay, David?
I don't have any.
Matt or Ed?
No.
The only question I have is it Mark's Ranch where we had a number of issues that were going to be grouped together and settled?
We're still working on that separately, yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's going to be separate.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Sure.
Okay, somebody.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I move to approve the J 2021-0114 Marks Ranch subdivision extension of preliminary plat approval request for 1 year to December 31st, 2027, based upon testimony received at the city council meeting and the record of the request.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion being made? Maybe get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson?
Yes.
Council President DePreez?
Yes.
Okay, our next item is the McIntyre Family Park Master Plan presentation.
While Molly pulls up the presentation, I have some paper handouts. They're plans to just illustrate a little bit more depth.
Thank you.
More than what's in the.
It was in the package, but this one is a little bit easier to see.
Okay.
It's nice.
Thank you.
What you've seen in the package.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for this opportunity to be here tonight. We're excited to share what we've been working on for the last 6 months. My name is Molly Teal. I'm a landscape architect with Architects West, and I'm joined by Helen Casey. Yes, I'm a landscape designer at Architects West and been working closely with Molly throughout this whole process. And it's been a wonderful experience to work with the city and the city staff as well as the community.
Yep. We work locally. We really work though across the Northwest. So it's exciting to be here in Hayden, in our backyard, in our community, presenting this. A lot of what we do is design of parks, but we design in small groups and isolation. So this project was fun because it wasn't that at all. It was designing with a group and committees and the community mostly. So tonight, we're going to try to wrap up our last 6 months in the next 15 minutes. This is our agenda we want to roll through. There's a more elaborate version of this in the packet you got. We'll kind of do a quick summary of it. Feel free to ask questions as we go. And if you want to circle back on anything, at the end, we're happy to.
Molly, really quick, the microphone that's over here is what people hear you that are.
Oh, I do need to stay put.
So if you, well, just keeping that in mind.
That's fine.
So that way, people that are watching hear you as well.
This works. So we want to give a quick overview. The first couple months of this whole process for us was a community engagement. So we'll speak a lot to that. And then we'll get into the design, followed by costing and phasing. All right, the purpose for this park was to create a community-driven vision. And that was the biggest player in this whole thing, was we're designers, we can design parks, but that's not what this was about. This was about what does the community want? And so we explored the opportunities for that future park and amenities, and really just spent a lot of time out talking to the community.
How was the feedback in comparison to the
All
average
over,
project?
I mean, mostly positive. The general vibe was a positive
Yeah.
vibe. People are pretty excited.
Yeah.
They want to see change. They're excited about the vision for where it could go.
What about numbers also? Like,
We'll
was it
actually
low
get right
turnout or-
into that.
Oh, sorry, I'm excited.
Yeah, you're just anticipating what's coming. So, before we get into that, the project, we originally started in late October, and that's when we started planning and figuring out all the needs of this process to have a thoughtful park design. So we started with a site analysis and opportunities, and that included creating a steering committee, which we'll talk about a little bit more, and the initial start of the public engagement of what do the people want initially. And then that led us to concept alternatives and sorting through what was the best option. And in that, we kept meeting with the steering committee and had additional public input. And then we ended up at our preferred master plan, and that turned into a final master plan, all of which you'll get to see in the upcoming presentation. And I guess today, to end it, we're at the very end at our council meeting where we hope to adopt this into the 2020 Parks Master Plan, 2040, I believe.
Some of our, this is mine or yours, project goals, to inform the community about what's coming and what our role in this process is, and trying to establish the roadmap for where we are and where we're going and the possibilities. Goals were design a master plan that answers the needs and wants of the community and gather feedback to inform the design and the future roadmap plan. This is our process. We had a project kickoff in early November and met with our steering committee. We'll talk about that committee here in just a minute. But they helped establish the stakeholders, and interviews with stakeholders happened for a couple months, along with community outreach. These two pictures highlight the parade and Christmas tree lighting event, which had a great turnout, and then our open house this spring where we presented some of the plans. Based on all that feedback, we took what we heard and took that into design. And there were many designs that happened to get to where we are today with what we're presenting to you today. After that final design was determined based on all of our feedback and the steering committee feedback, we had a third-party cost estimator provide a cost for 2027 costs for it, which leads us to today, where we have a plan for you to adopt that's both aspirational and achievable. And that was the goal through this whole process, was an achievable plan that we could implement. So from here, after today, if we adopt this plan, then the future is design and construction of phase 1.
So the steering committee is a small group built on a variety of interests and who we deem to be really important to the design process. And
we all talked about Hayden's values and how to align the park with this.
Yeah, so members included the City of Hayden, the Parks, Rec, and Forestry Commission members, and a HURA board member. It was really great having the City of Hayden staff on here to ensure that what we delivered is going to be maintainable in the future. There's some imagery here of things that we did at some of our steering committee meetings to help establish the goals and what's working in the park, what's not working in the park, the direction that we want to go with the park.
In our steering committee, we identified stakeholders throughout the community, whether that was city leadership, city commissions, like you had heard from earlier, and the Hayden Urban Renewal Agency, central business district. Since McIntyre Park is downtown, we wanted to hear from the businesses nearby, as well as citizens at large and baseball user groups. In total, we held 22 stakeholder interviews, and it was a really great opportunity to speak with the public and the people who use this park and care about this park. In summary, we heard overall that people really wanted McIntyre Park to be a community gathering space. However big, however small, just somewhere to be together. And we often heard that parking and access were a strong need for the park, so that's something that we look to implement in the design, as well as flexible use for a variety of events that the city has, whether it's large like Hayden Days or just small picnics. And then, of course, like Molly had mentioned, that it's sustainable and realistic for the community.
We tried many forms of outreach to reach the community, whether in person or passive. We wanted to be able to reach as many community members as we could. The Christmas tree lighting ceremony was our first outreach, which had a great attendance and a lot of feedback. We had dot boards at that event and just a lot of conversations with the community that came out. Those voting boards that we had at that event stayed up for several months. They were here in the City Hall lobby. And then the content of what was on those boards was also posted online in an online survey. So community members at home could take a vote on what they want to see in the park. We also had the flyers that went out in Super One bags.
And the survey that was in the recreation packet, so it was sent out to students, teachers, and families. So we really tried all means and methods to get as large of a user group and as many people as possible.
Do you know which of those methods of outreach were the most effective?
Yes, I believe that the online survey was definitely the most impactful, especially you could tell by the dates of when it was sent out in an email to the schools and that user group, as well as the recreation package. There was a lot of input after those.
Here you go.
So in total, from our surveys.
Good, you're right in line.
You're great. We had almost 300 responses, which I believe to be really great for this. Most of them were online, 88%, and then 12% were paper, especially from that Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Of the demographics that responded, there was a huge variety. I think it was anywhere from ages 10 to 80. The paper surveys were really open for younger kids, like 13-year-olds filled them out a lot, but you can see from the graph that the largest demographic was about the age of parents, people who really care about taking their kids to the park. And then as far as the zip code, almost all of them were from the local area. So mostly in Hayden, that 83835 zip code, and then a few from Coeur d'Alene, but all local people responding.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Was there any correlation between age group and what activity they wanted to see kept at the park?
A bit, yes. You could definitely tell in the more extreme, from younger to older, there was less of that like parking, parking, enough parking, but more of like walking paths and that passive recreation, a field, while the kind of age group that is generally associated with parents was playground, bathroom amenities, and those kinds of things that make accessing a park when you have children a lot easier. And everyone notices different things, of course. And then there's a good portion of active versus like active citizens, as in sports and whatnot, who kind of outreach, but that was more varied throughout age.
Okay, thank you.
A question we asked on the survey was McIntyre Family Park should be a place where people can, and the write-ins, these are some of them, socialize, relax, enjoy music, and have family picnics. And we chose these quotes because there were multiples of a very similar quote. Enjoy the space as a family or individual, place for kids to play, and a place for people to gather. What factors make you choose this park over others to visit? Location was, these are the top three. Location, events, and amenities is why people come to this park. And then why do you usually visit McIntyre Family Park? And the top one on that one was to go to a city event and to use the playground. There's others there as well, to relax, exercise, socialize, walk, be outdoors, play a sport. But the playground and city events are the biggest draw right now.
I'm noticing that if I visually add up the numbers, it's way more than 300 respondents. Did people get a chance to select more than one activity?
Yes, that's exactly correct. On this one, they had 3 options, and that's the same for the amenities that they choose in a further slide. So that's a correct.
Okay.
So on a usual visit, who are you with when you come to the park? That's what we asked the community. And most people come with their older children of ages 5 to 10, their spouse, partner, and young children. But overall, it's a really large variety of people in group sizes. You can see that it's really open to everyone, as well as we asked how often do they visit the park, and it ranges from a few times per year, probably for the city events, to monthly, less than monthly, and like once a week. So a variety, but it seems from the responses that it's more every once in a while as they want to, as it's convenient, and then of course our summer season is fairly short. And then to continue on with that write-in, it's McIntyre Family Park should be a place where people can have fun at all ages, bring their families to play, socialize, and create special memories together, feel safe, and have fun. And then we also asked how do people access the park to gauge the parking and access needs and the circulation. Most people drive, but there's a fair bit of walking and biking as well.
See that golf cart, one person?
Was that you?
I was actually just wondering where that came from.
And I kept up the tradition. I went to the Memorial Day ceremony in my golf cart.
It's perfect.
Nicely done.
Some more results of what we heard. Is there anything that makes it difficult to visit? The lack of parking was the number one reason that people don't visit here. There were also a lot of just nothing, though. It doesn't seem to be a limiting factor for some. Lack of connection to trails and walkway systems, and then just traffic. What do you want to see most in the park? The top one on that one is playground. These were actually the top 5. Walking path loop with benches, multi-use sport court, climbing structure, and an open green space, multi-use lawn. And so you'll find that these are the items and the components that we took then put into the master plan, or the results of this.
So because this slide is up and I can't ignore the word,
Yeah.
sooner or later, we need to have a discussion about baseball.
Yes.
Because it was mentioned 33 times in your document. So I'd like to
Yeah.
hear more about how you weighed that in the
Yeah,
balance.
so here are, on this page as well, there's some quotes from baseball users. We interviewed 3 user groups, baseball user groups from
Yes.
Little League and baseball.
First and third, and the Hayden Little League.
Yep.
And one other that I can't place off the top of my head. And
And there's been a great outpouring of letters as well.
Yes.
About the baseball fields.
Yep.
So the general consensus of what we're hearing in all these letters is that while this field isn't like a top-rated field for them, it's a field. And mostly what they care about is just having a field. So if it's not going to be here, could it be replaced elsewhere? And that's mostly what we were hearing. There are complaints about this one, the outfield size, its orientation, maintenance required. And so it's not the go-to field for them, but it's a field, and that's mostly what they want to see is a field somewhere.
Mr. Mayor, is this a chance to redirect to staff about this particular subject, or should I wait until later?
You can ask staff if you've got an idea, or, I mean, I think you should get council's buy-in to
Well, I
whatever
think
it
you
is.
should let them finish their.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
I had a follow-up question. For all the people that gave feedback regarding baseball, do you know what percentage lived in Hayden and what was outside of Hayden? Because multiple people reached out to me, and every one of them didn't live in Hayden. Rathdrum, Coeur d'Alene, all over, and they had opinion about what we should do with our park.
I'll just note that I heard a lot of opinions also, but they weren't in our online survey. They weren't part of our outreach process.
It was all direct.
It all came after.
Yes.
Is that where these,
correct?
And
is that where these quotes came from?
these quotes came directly from the survey, so there were, I think, like you had said, 33, and in our data table, we can actually see if they were residents or not. That was not something that we included on this presentation or in your packet, but we can certainly follow up if that's something you would like.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's a curious.
I was mostly curious just because of my own personal numbers. If everybody was outside of Hayden. So I'm curious how many people who have a negative opinion about the baseball field going away actually live in this community. Yeah.
It's a great point. We can follow up on that.
So, moving forward with the city dot boards after that, we had these up at the Christmas lighting tree ceremony, and then we had them at the city hall for people to vote on. Everyone got 3 dots to choose their most favorite items that they would really like to see. And of these, a climbing structure or boulder was heavily voted on as, I think, an additional playground item, something to engage a little bit differently with. And then a walking path loop with benches was very strongly wanted, as well as a multi-use sport court, botanical garden, stage pavilion. Those were kind of our top numbers. But from this, the walking path loop and bench, that one is a really enhancement to the park for accessibility in all ages. And I think that was one that we saw in all demographics kind of lean towards. And then from those write-in responses, we took those and filtered out the most common words that we heard. And really, overall, from the survey and talking with everyone, we heard that McIntyre Family Park is a place to enjoy, play, relax with your kids or your family, go to events, be outdoors, be a community, and feel safe.
Taking all those elements, we had heard from the community, what do you want? And then we took that feedback and the results and we started putting them on the site, the 6-acre park that's right out here. That includes the baseball field up to honeysuckle. So there were many iterations of this design. It's just relocating and rearranging all these parts and pieces and where do they work best and how do we create the connectivity between all the streets and the communities and the businesses. And working with the steering committee, they gave us a lot of great input and perspectives for how they see this park and where they want to see it moving forward in the future. From all of these concepts, we narrowed it down to 2 that were presented at the open house. And then the community came and voted on those, which is how we got that narrowed down to 1. This master plan that you see on the screen is a 3D perspective of what you have in front of you. And in front of you is the plan view of this. But this just helps show the vision for what this park could be. So now we're at the master plan phase of this, and we're gonna start walking you through the plan that's in front of you.
So we can start at the bottom where Honeysuckle is. This would include a new access off of Honeysuckle to add that parking and circulation that so many people have been wanting, to get people off of Government and trying to turn off of there, as well as creating a parking lot for 87 more cars to host events and allow a lot more flexibility with the space and use.
The parking lot comes up to the north here and has a roundabout space to provide access deep into the park for that stage and band shell. It also serves as a dual use for food trucks to be a part of that park without overpowering or being the center of it. They're kind of on the edge and help create the framework. And then somewhat close to that parking lot is our playground area. There's three different play spaces. There's a multi-use sport court, there's a playground, there's a natural play zone, and these areas are encircled by a road system for kids to play on, get their bikes out. There's options for seating, for shade, and then that is a part of a connective piece for the walking path that encircles most of the park and connects to all the features.
And of course, we, in this master plan, are planning for an updated and new restroom in the future to accommodate that new playground and keep everything centralized, as well as the small boxes that are brown. Those would all be picnic shelters for people to rent out or use. And then as we move up north through the site, we have a location for the new Christmas tree for access and all the events, and it's located right across from the stage where kids can sing as we light it up. And then in this kind of north zone near the city hall, it's a more passive area, less of that active recreation, so we included bocce ball. There's the existing restrooms there, and then some more walking paths, as well as the existing playground, and preserving the existing trees with their memorials.
Something to note on this is the stage and the band shell has been located on the north and it's facing south to redirect the noise from that. Anything else to touch on? Okay.
Yeah.
We have some imagery that will kind of give you an idea for the feel of these spaces. So this first picture we're going to show you is the area circled in yellow. This is kind of a central corridor. There were some comments within the steering committee about creating that front door and that visual appeal to draw you into the park. And so this corridor takes you through the park. So there's shade, there's pathways, there's seating, there's the passive activity and the active activity occurring.
I see you've got a themed logo going through it. It's very
Yes.
nice.
The metal trees could help line that pathway and create the shade element. We've also talked about, within the steering committee, we talked about that metal tree work being like a donor item. The leaves of the tree could be a donor element. The structure itself could be a donor element.
And then kind of looking at that same area, but more of the playground and how that would feel. We have the two playgrounds and then the multi-use sport court, and they're all separated by that kind of road element, which would be an asphalt path and stripes so kids can ride their bikes around that, but stay in that localized area. And then there's some trellis back here, and that would have seating behind it so that parents and community members can kind of watch over the park and the kids.
We wanted to create spaces that would be multi-generational, and so all ages and all users could come to these spaces.
I know it's a very specific question. Did you consider, I don't know what the proper name for the material is, but the running tracks are made of it?
Yeah.
Using that in lieu of asphalt for, just because it might be a little safer?
Yeah, the interior space on this could be an acrylic paint like on the sport court or the pour-in-place rubber in that playground space.
I was talking the bike path.
The bike path, it could be that, yes. Or it could just be asphalt.
Durability and
The
longevity.
part of this plan too is that while it's aspirational, we also want it to be achievable. And I think there's a lot of elements of this master plan that could be phased. And the size and scale of each of these elements could be as small or as grand as we want them to be. And so by creating these pods, we've created the framework for future phasing and implementation. It would be a dream to use all
I just think of skin, knees, and kids, that's all.
Because that's going to be a huge draw and really draw in families.
I had a quick question
Yeah.
about the multi-use sport court. So logistically, you know, there's an option for obviously basketball, but do I see tennis or volleyball or?
Any and all. And that's part of why we've shown this with color, so that we're not defined to a basketball, a pickleball, a tennis, an outdoor hockey. We want to try to design a surface that could be used for all sports and activities and not be locked into one user group.
When you design, so my
Yeah.
follow-up is, when you do design a multi-use court, is there like a storage closet nearby where that stuff,
That's
developments get
something-
brought out? How does that work?
That's something we would want to look at here is storage being incorporated into that restroom building. We've talked about it also being incorporated into that band shell space. I think city entities just never have enough storage. And when you have it on site, it's more likely to be used if you're able to accommodate it there on the park site.
Got it, okay.
So that's more of a means and methods for the city and how they want to manage that.
Right, yeah, I just wasn't sure
But
if
yeah.
there was a solution you normally employ or suggest.
Nope,
Okay.
we've seen all things.
Got it.
There's city managed, and then there's also community members that have a padlock key, and they can go get their stuff out. So it's kind of, it can be a wide range.
This kind of goes over the same general area, but a different perspective that looks a little bit more at the natural play structure and what that might look like.
It just gives kids options. Not every child out there wants all the bright color play equipment, and so this is just another play opportunity for kids to explore. And it also helps with all ages, from the toddler kids up to the teenagers that want to go out and play. We can create these spaces that can accommodate all of them. Yes?
Yeah, this might not be the time, but just to kind of put it out there for future discussion. Something like this, it's great and all that, but I can see, who knows what age child on top of that rock formation falling, or kids racing around the path on their bikes and scooters and things like that. And I guess the question comes to, what kind of liability are we possibly creating here? Or is it a use at your own, you know, what's the word I'm
Risk.
looking for? Risk type of situation.
I guess the answer would be we would have to address that
Yeah.
as part of our next phase, but many cities have equipment and play structure similar to this, so we would work closely with maybe learning from them or working with our attorney on
Right,
developing.
that's kind of where I was going for just a,
There's no perfect solution. to
no,
anything.
but a guesstimation because, you know, kid falls, kids get hurt. Unfortunately, it's often the case where people look for someone to sue.
There are activities out there that are defined by statute and case law as inherently dangerous, and when you participate in those at your own risk, the city doesn't have liability, so
Regardless of age levels?
we just evaluate that.
Okay, that kind of answers my question.
This next picture highlights kind of that trellis, more of a passive zone, but it allows parents and visitors an option to sit and be engaged in the park space or outside of that park space.
moving forward a little bit, this offers a really good view of what we anticipate the food truck alley to be like. It has a variety of materials to kind of define that walking zone versus food truck parking zone, and then boulevard trees to keep the McIntyre tree shaded park throughout the whole space.
It's a space that can be used when the food trucks aren't there. It's still a park, and it feels like a park space with that boulevard look. So it's not tied completely to one program element. And then along the same lines, there's another image of that, what it could be. The food trucks were an important piece for the city events. They help with those city events, and they help bring the people in. So this is going back to the plan there, I think being on the side there, it's a great opportunity to be able to incorporate them into the park without overpowering the park.
What type of materials have you seen? I got, are those pavers, stamped concrete? What type of a material on the, were those?
Both. They could be the stamped concrete. It could be a grasscrete where grass is growing into the concrete that supports food trucks and fire trucks. It could be pavers. We would look for a durable,
I think,
product. Yeah. And it could just be asphalt and concrete, but it's nice having that visually different material to help define the lanes in the space. And then this last one is the stage and the band shell. This was a very important part of the park. It's another driving factor for people visiting for events, and it's a heavily used item in the park.
And the stage is oriented into a large span of turf grass to accommodate large events, but also to have that multi-use lawn space like we saw in the survey as something people wanted to see. And then we also included that more passive zone with bocce ball, and this is closer to the city hall, so it's just a little bit of that zone separation into different use in all ages.
And then our open turf space. That can be all seasons. This shows the Christmas tree in the wintertime, and its use as a park year-round. That was something we also heard in our community outreach, was creating spaces and amenities to support the public year-round. The cost estimate. So this is the quick summary of the cost for the park. So whether it's 2 phases or it's 8 phases, we just wanted to try to create and get some framework for how this could be implemented moving forward. And then how also do you kick this park off and you get it going to support the future phases? So phase 1 is roughly a $2 million phase. It includes the earthwork, the demolition of what's out there, some of the buildings, and regrading, the utilities and infrastructure, the approach from Honeysuckle, the parking lot, and the band shell. And these activities help kind of set up that framework and the bones of the park to then implement the next phases. Phase 2 would fill in with the remaining park amenities.
Question?
Go ahead.
So if theoretically phase 1 were completed, what amount of the park would be usable by the public?
I think you should show them the next slide.
Yep, I was gonna say, I think we can do this.
Ah, great, thank you. Thank
Finally, someone else does it.
you. Well,
Jump the gun.
Go ahead.
the other question I was going to ask is, are all those in 2026 dollars?
2027.
2027, okay.
And then you want to take about 8 to 10% increase per year for every year after that.
Okay, thank you.
So this is phase 1 and what it encompasses. It would also, part of that utilities and infrastructure is the irrigation for this phase plus phase 2, so that when this whole park has a build out, it's all on one irrigation system, and that all utilities for the whole park build out are one, and it's easy maintenance for the city. But phase 1 kind of gets people there. It starts to give them the vision for what's to come. Hopefully it gets community members and donors excited about possibilities for what could come, which would be that phase 2. And this would be phase 2, kind of that central active core, the restroom building, any improvements that we might want to make to the existing playground, existing gazebo area, or existing parking lot right outside City Hall. If we could come over and capture some of that. By leaving those elements outside of phase 1, you still have that piece of McIntyre Park with the existing restroom, existing playground, existing gazebo. You can still maintain those elements of the park while phase 1 is happening. And then after phase 1 and 2, there's the option to come back and make improvements to those if we want. And then there's more of a cost breakdown and some information that was sent to you guys if you want to see more of those numbers. These are just the big picture numbers.
I see electrical site improvement 0, and kind of when we're looking through the pictures there, what type of lighting is projected there? I would assume you'd have to have fairly good lighting throughout the park.
Yes. I believe that this one, the electrical site improvements they put into phase 1, there would be some on phase 2, but I think for this big picture, it was lumped into phase 1.
And Molly, if I could just jump in and help kind of frame the point of
Please.
the process here so council understands that when we go through these iterations towards what hopefully would be that, shovel-ready project, we're first engaging the community and trying to represent to the community by council's acceptance, that this is a plan that's worth moving to the next phase, which would be design of phase 1 and design of phase 2. In those particular more narrowed looks, we'll look at what's the lighting plan, what's the design for lighting, what's the design for irrigation. So we're not necessarily, maybe what is the tree type that we want to plan for, all those sort of granular decision-making happens there. So at this point, those are good questions, but the answer really will come in the iterations as we move towards construction of phase 1 and phase 2. And we're excited, as Molly had mentioned, to bring you an attainable plan. And we think that should it be supported by council tonight, our next question to you will be, would you support a contract for us to do design of phase 1?
And that's it. So if kind of to piggyback on what Lisa just said, by adopting this plan, you're not saying we're going to build this tomorrow, but you're at least laying down that framework for how could we achieve this plan and how can we move this forward and start implementing this vision and start with this park.
Yeah, and is there consensus by the council in the belief that we've created a plan that's representative of what the community would like to see?
Okay, council, any questions?
Yeah. With those costs, and as has come up, and it seems to be somewhat of the dark horse here, replacing the baseball field is, I sense, almost a necessity. So the cost, what is approximate cost of replacing the baseball field, which is going to be tacked on too? This would look like almost $6 or $7 million.
Now, I don't know that that's a decision that has to be made tonight.
I'm not looking to make a decision, but I think that it's part of, I'd like to have a relatively ballpark figure when this plays out, when it's in completion, how much, how are we going to allocate funding? How much is going to be HURA? How much is going to be city? How much is going to be bonds or who knows what to finally get this to completion? And the baseball field is probably not going to be cheap. And it's part because if we don't replace it, I can guarantee we're going to have a significant population who is not happy.
Again, going back to the purpose of this process is to gain a consensus over what the community would like to see in McIntyre Park. If you feel like this plan has accomplished that and we adopt it, we can answer those questions going forward. Because if what you're saying is the city's going to be a part of that process regardless, I see that happening in working with groups of people in our community that have a strong passion about replacing that field. I think they'd come to the table too in helping to design where that goes. We have a location in mind on where we think it could go. We think we can work with the community on moving it there, but I don't know that the question tonight has to be answered as part of this
No, it
decision.
doesn't have to be answered, but once we approve this, it starts the engine to start spending money.
So one of the things I think is very important to understand what we heard through this process wasn't that the community, the baseball users demanded that the city move it on their dime. They asked for the community council to ensure that it had a place to go if it went away. Is there another place? And we have that place. We think we do. And we need to explore that. We're nowhere in this process by adopting this are we saying we don't want baseball to be a component of our community.
No,
We just are saying that it's not necessarily appropriate at this location. And I think that question can be answered going forward, but we don't have to necessarily say with this decision that we're committing to doing that as part of this decision. And that's the part I want to make sure is like two separate actions.
Matt, anything to add?
I think that this represents really what the community wants. I mean, my thoughts on what a park should be, I think, is overridden by what the overall community wants. And that's why I've really relied on what you brought forward with these thoughts and then incorporating them into a plan. The one thing that I've heard about the baseball field, and I don't want to make a big issue of it, but we do have, I don't know how many baseball fields already. And we also have a potential Hayden Canyon, how many acres up there that maybe could have a baseball field. We acquired more park property that may incorporate a baseball field. I think that I don't have a way to judge how many baseball fields is appropriate for the city of Hayden with all the users. I don't know how to answer that question. But my gut is that we have a fair amount. I know that Hayden Little League, we accommodate them. I know we have softball programs and so I don't want to get into the baseball thing, but I think that's something that can be overcome. And based on what Councilmember Erickson said about that in his polling, that a lot of these folks that don't want it to go are not even from Hayden. And I think that we need to focus on what people of Hayden. So I'm supportive of this. I'm supportive of the idea because it represents what the community wants.
Thanks, Matt. Tom, David? Anything to add?
I believe, based upon the presentation, that they've properly tapped into what Hayden wants for an updated McIntyre Park. I think that my concerns about baseball field have been adequately answered. My only question to staff or to Lisa would be, how can we afford phase one right now?
Yeah, so it's a good question, and I appreciate the chance to get in front of this so that council understands the design around the phasing. When working with HURA and when HURA updated their plan, when we expanded the district, they had included contributions towards McIntyre Park in a two-phase process. So we tried to mirror those with their funding expectations that they included. In the first phase of, and in part of the main plan that HURA put together, it included a $2 million contribution to park improvements. So we asked, what can we do with $2 million? And can we get a band shell included in that? So that's why we really broke it apart into some functionalities of the phasing. Now, recognizing that, and I don't know if you can bring up phase one again. Phase one, there isn't a lot of, pretty things in it. It's a lot more functional, where we're dealing with some of our current problems with parking, access, infrastructure in the ground. Hopefully the band shell, because that is a strong component of what we needed as part of this plan, so it can continue to operate as is, and then some enhancements to our parking and management. But it's really in the second phase where you start to see more of what I would call enrichments happening. And in that second phase, we're hoping that, and the thematic tieback that was brought up through the initial conversations that we had with the community and stakeholders was this idea of building energy and synergy around the tree mentality, right? That becoming kind of the main focal point for how we can try to draw in assistance from our community and our particular funders for making that second phase happen, where we really will see the functionality of the entire park come to fruition, and that tree being an opportunity to sell contributions to the city park, and it being on display into perpetuity. One of the areas that we talked about incorporating it was part of the band shell, so that when we're having events there, you see the tree with the leaves and the funders that are helping to make that particular second phase come to fruition. So it really was very thoughtfully put together and pragmatically put together, and realizing that we're not going to see a lot of pretty things in the first phase, but we'll see a lot of functionality come to fruition. And our parks department being a critical part of the concept phase will see the values of that coming to them as we begin to build this park out.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to say that I am very excited about this. Thank you guys for all the hard work. This presentation was very thorough, answered all of my questions. And I think one of the biggest concerns for me was
Golf cart parking.
yes, besides the golf cart parking, how do we find out what the people of Hayden want? And I think you guys did a great job of trying to get as many people to provide feedback as possible. And this seems to represent what our city wants. And I think, well, one of my big concerns stepping into this role was how do we get younger people and young families engaged, interacting as a community, and this is it. So I'm very excited about it. And
We hope to show this process over and over again to you as a council body to see how, I'm a planner, former planner, recovering planner, it bring the synergy that you're looking for to a place. And you see us doing it even in law enforcement and with this, and then with future plans. We saw it with Hayden Canyon as a means to deliver to you guys a voice of our community.
Okay.
I think Architects West did a phenomenal job of doing this. We're excited to see your guys' feeling. I was hoping we'd overwhelm you with the voice of our community, and I think they did a good job of illustrating that.
yeah, just don't call me late.
Thank you to staff. This was fabulous. Really appreciated the methodology, the thoroughness, the outreach. The visuals were spectacular, the best I've seen since sitting up here. Articulating the vision and what it's really going to look like, or what our goal is for it to look like. So fabulous job. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you guys. And thanks to the steering committee and just the community for showing up. Made our job on this easier.
All right, thank you. We're gonna go on then to item 5BI, which is an action item to consider the resolution to adopt this McIntyre Family Park Master Park Plan into our 2040 Parks Master Plan. So we're just looking for any,
Yeah, so the attached to 5BI is the memo as well as the draft resolution for council to consider, but essentially by adopting it through resolution as an addendum to the 2040 Master Park Plan provides the framework for this park to be folded into that plan and handed down to the next council should it not be built with this, in this timeframe of this council, and will provide, I think, that continuity of vision far into the future at this park.
yep, and there is a recommended action or motion should council decide to make a motion.
Where is it?
Yeah, I'm
I don't
looking
see
for
it.
it too.
First paragraph of background and recommended action or motion.
On the staff's memo. I could read it for you. It says staff recommends approval of the attached resolution adopting the master plan for McIntyre Park into the 2040 Parks Master
So
Plan.
you just want to take out staff and have the motion to be to recommend approval.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, Dave?
I recommend approval of the attached resolution adopting the master plan for McIntyre Park into the 2040 Parks Master Plan.
There's a motion?
Second.
There's a second. Is there any discussion on the motion being made? Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Council President DePreez.
Yes.
Councilmember Roder.
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson.
Yes.
Outstanding job.
Okay.
Okay, our next agenda item is to consider budget agreement addendum to Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board reopened fiscal year 25-26 budget presented by Hayden Lake Sewer District. Is there a presentation with this?
So there's not, but I'll just remind council how our, what is it called? Our agreement with her, or with, excuse me, with Harbs is. Joint Powers Agreement, thank you. It says that in order for Harbs to consider any kind of budget or any kind of budget authority, it first has to go to the representative communities for their support. So what typically we do is produce a, I believe, resolution or a motion, excuse me, to approve the board, in this case, the budget amendments, and then the board will consider that as part of their process for adopting that adjustment within their budget, which follows coincidentally the same budget process that it does to adopt your budget. So this is that action. They are producing an amended budget of the fiscal year 25-26 budget year to include those items as provided to you in the attachment on the board book. And it should Hayden agree to that, then we would produce that support to them, and then they can move forward should the other parties agree as well.
Any questions for staff?
My comment is that by reading this, I'm not well informed of the background,
Okay.
but then I have to put my trust in the members of this council who represent us at Harbs and any of the work that staff has done. I just wish there was a little bit more explanation as to what actually went on here.
Oh, so did I jump ahead?
You did.
Okay.
You skipped over C.
So you're, Tom, for the 4 bullet items, were you looking at maybe for more of a why this was needed?
Right, yes.
Sorry, I apologize. I jumped to the resolution of the budget amendment. So admittedly, this didn't come to council last year in the form of a motion. It came in the form of a discussion. And as part of that, the board members voted on this at the board meeting where the budget was being adopted and this addendum was being included. Since the board is considering opening the budget, Hayden Lake Sewer District is asking for an amendment to the agreement or the addendum. And so those are listed on here as those 4 items that was originally approved. And then that would come subsequently with that resolution to amend the budget if you support those. So I apologize for the confusion on that one. I'll jump to the next one.
Comment on this, or?
Yeah, I'd like to get Councilmember Roder's input and analysis on this.
Well, one thing we have to do to open up the budget is we have to have a unanimous vote on that. And that's been a contentious issue in the past. What I want to make sure is that what we have seen that's redlined in the changes, the addendum, to reopen the 25-26 budget is this what Hayden Lake Sewer District is recommending, or is it what Harbs is recommending and that we agree with?
Yeah, so this particular area, these 4 different items as produced in the addendum is essentially how you get to that unanimous vote by Hayden Lake Sewer District. So this addendum is theirs.
It's what they want.
But at the end of the day, you know, there is an obligation to make sure and to ensure that the functionality of that sewer system can continue to operate and pay its bills. So after talking it over with our attorneys, so both Cable Houston and Holly Troxel, none of this feels like, one, that it'll compromise our position right now relative to the court case, and two, that it jeopardizes the operations of Harbs for it to continue paying its bills. So given that, staff's recommendation is that we approve the addendum so that we can continue to run that utility in a fiduciary responsible way.
Can I maybe shorten it here a little bit? We have no choice. It's the same thing that Hayden Lake Sewer District has been doing to us for a couple years now. Okay? They give us no choice because it needs a unanimous vote. Okay? So they play this game knowing that we have to approve it, or as Lisa just said, we're putting in peril the operation. Okay? So, bottom line is, until the situation can be remedied, there's a term that I won't use, but they have us by it.
These are fairly minor adjustments to the budget though, right? I mean, they're not going to be the difference.
Well, I don't know, strike the Ramsey Honeysuckle force main, it's that, I mean.
That's because it's being done in this year's budget.
Yeah.
So it's still being done.
Yes.
Okay.
That was included in this year's, you may have recalled that we brought that agreement to you previously to enter into a reimbursement agreement through the bidding process. So that one will be done with this year. So it doesn't need to be included in the addendum going forward. The second one is related to an if-then scenario. If the developers along the Hayden-Hutter intersection come forward with the proposal to build out that intersection, which would not be a city project, it would be a developer-led project, then Harbs needs to be able to, as part of that project, get their sleeve fixed, I guess, or replaced in that section. So that's the design work to get that done. And then there similarly is the I-90, there's work being contemplated in that area. And so while construction is being contemplated, the idea is to capitalize on the opportunity of having that ditch opened and for the work to be done. And so, again, the Hayden-Hutter one, if the developers don't come forward and that doesn't happen, it'll be budgeted, they can do it, but if it doesn't happen, they won't spend the money. And then the I-90 one as well.
Okay.
And then there's, I believe, other items noted in red, which I think are just some verbiage, acknowledging that it's being reopened, that this is an amendment to the addendum, and that no other items will be changing.
Okay.
Would it be a fair assessment that these are all necessary infrastructure costs?
Absolutely.
Any more questions?
No.
Anyone want to,
I understand better now.
okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
Not the right motion.
Okay, let's see, how do I want to word this?
Under background and recommended action.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend, or make a motion that we recommend approval of the budget agreement addendum by the Hayden Lake Sewer District and authorize you to sign the addendum.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion?
No.
May we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Roeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson?
Yes.
Council President DePriest?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Okay, then I believe in support of that, we need a resolution to adopt the proposed amended 2025-26 annual budget for the Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board.
So this is the one I was mentioning before, where you would have to authorize the amended budget through resolution, and then we would share that resolution with Harbs, and hopefully the other entities approve it, and then they can move forward with publicizing the public hearing and then opening the budget.
Does council need any further discussion, or?
I'll make the motion that
Okay.
we approve the resolution to adopt the proposed amended 25-26 annual budget for the Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Can you get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Erickson?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Council President DePriest?
Yes.
Councilmember Roeder?
Yes.
All right, we're going to move on then to our next item, which is the Come Together Bench Project Art Designs. This is a project that we've all been looking forward to. The council has received paintings for 5 of the 9 benches, and this is the next step towards completing the project. Our Arts Commission advertised a call to artists, and 6 artists submitted a total of 9 designs, and the commission selected 8 of them. So I think council, they're looking for the okay to move forward with decorating our benches. Questions, comments, motion?
Sure.
Okay.
I would motion to approve the selected bench designs for the Come Together Bench Project and funding the cost of painting 5 of the 9 benches.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Roder,
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Council President DePreez.
Yes.
I have a quick question. Sorry for the late discovery, but under fiscal impact, the very last paragraph, there's a word while. What comes after while?
You're aware of fiscal impact?
Oh, yeah.
At the very last word of the paragraph there.
Yeah, fiscal impact.
Well, it didn't, second page didn't make it on there, so strike that while.
Well, is there a dollar amount that is in the rest of the paragraph?
Yes, there's a second page that was not added to this, it looks like.
Based on the context, it might be while the Arts Commission continues to raise funds for the remaining benches.
That
Would be
is
my
exactly
suspicion.
true.
Well, the Arts Commission continues to raise funds, correct?
So the Arts Commission was seeking the council to approve funding for 5 of the 9 benches while they continue to seek donations to cover that cost. Currently, they have secured donations for 3 of the 9 benches.
And so what kind of dollar amount do they need?
Each bench is, $2,500 has been allocated to cover the artist fee and the supplies. So, $12,500.
Okay, it's interesting. We kind of blazed through this, and I thought we were, based upon the early wording, I thought we were approving the designs, not the funding. And so.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, that's why.
That's what I thought we were
Yeah.
doing.
The motion had funding in it, whoever read the motion.
Yes.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I was under the belief that the Arts Commission was funding these through donations.
They are, and they are actively seeking donations. I believe they've actually secured another donation. However, we haven't received the check, so I didn't feel comfortable putting that in the memo that we had secured for.
So I guess my question is because, is it the Arts Commission or the city that's going to be funding these? Because I was under the impression it was the Arts Commission fully funding.
Yeah, so the request from the Arts Commission is that they are requesting the city provide the funding for the 5 benches while they continue to seek donations to cover that cost.
Will you be reimbursed?
Yes. As they get donations, it'll go back to the
But
city.
there's no guarantee, so we're kind of on a limb here if they cannot secure donations. And we're talking up to $12,000 or something like that?
12,500 is what I think.
Is there,
As a point of clarification, potentially for the council, 9 benches have already been purchased and are secured.
Well, the benches are, but we're talking about paying to paint them.
The Arts Commission has heard from the city that it is important to get this project completed and get the benches installed this summer. They're not able to install them without painting them. So if the council wishes to provide that funding to fund that gap until they are able to seek those donations or secure those donations.
Where is
That is
this
what they're asking for.
temporary funding going to come from out of the budget?
There is, as we looked for in the budget, while it wasn't an anticipated cost, it is anticipated that there will be funding available to cover this cost in this year's budget.
I would like to make a suggestion, because HURA has funding for art, is that we go back with seeking funding from HURA to pay for this interim financing that they need.
I agree.
Well, I think we could ask for a reimbursement. We could come back to you guys with a indicator as to their initial interest in wanting to reimburse us.
Now, who bought the benches originally? Who paid for the benches?
The Urban Renewal Agency.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that was been a couple of years ago, I believe.
Yes.
So there should still be some funding possibly in their art budget to help pay for this. So that's what, and that's why I'm sorry that we didn't discover this earlier, but, you
Yeah.
know, now we just found out. So that would be a great idea if we get.
We'll ask them.
Yeah.
But I do think that, I'm not overly concerned that this amount of money is going to tip us into a place of concern, but we can certainly move in the direction of asking her if their interest in reimbursement for the remaining 4 or 5.
Potentially 4, once we.
And Abby, just for some historical reference, the Arts Commission has been successful in past endeavors getting funding.
They have been successful in getting donations for this project. They thought that they had some secured, and with the need to get this project completed and installed this year, since we have the concrete pads placed, we received a donation for that cost. And then also for the cost of the artists.
Right, but we've had other projects in the city, is what I'm getting at, historically, that the Arts Commission is, in other words, we don't have any real reason to believe that the Arts Commission wouldn't come through again.
I'm not aware of any projects that we've received donations for, but that is, other than through the Urban Renewal Agency.
Okay, thank you.
A comment, maybe better wording next time, because I'm looking at the sentence under recommended action or motion, and if I take that in context with what I read later on in the document, which is basically proposed designs, how I interpreted this was that we were supposed to be approving tonight the designs, and because of past presentations from the Arts Commission on these benches, that the companion to that was their funding of the benches, not the city's funding of the benches. So this one got by me, and I would have liked to have been, I don't think it would have changed my vote based upon what we've discussed, but it was not clear to me that it did not imply to me that the city was covering the cost.
Well, the Arts Commission is the city, so we want to be real careful how we word that. You mean that your impression was they would be covering the entirety of it with donation dollars?
Correct.
Thank you for that interpretation. That is what I meant to say, but I wasn't articulate enough.
That's okay, I just want to make sure we're clear,
Yeah.
because we all are the city.
I might tag on there if I could, where it says agenda item. I think it would have been probably more clear had it said Arts Commission selected art design and funding for Come Together bench project, because the word funding does get kind of lost in the shuffle there.
So does the motion as stated stand? Abby, you might want to read that motion back.
Yeah, I have a motion, a second, and a roll call of a majority of members in favor of the motion to approve. Sorry, give me. To approve the, 1 second. The Arts Commission recommended approval of the selected bench designs for the Come Together bench project and funding the cost of painting 5 of the 9 benches.
Does anyone in council need to change their vote? Are they comfortable with what's been done?
Lisa, I'd like to ask you a question.
Sure.
For, just to clarify what you were saying, so we are promising to fund this, knowing that the hope is that there will be donations that will then reimburse the city?
It sounds to me as though both of those, both of those could be true. One, that we might not find enough donations to fund all of them, which means we'd still get them done and installed this year. The other option that we came out of the discussion of this item was potentially seeking the Urban Renewal Agency to assist in getting the last remaining 4 or 5, I'm gonna call it probably 4, to reimburse the city, but we would front load that cost. HERA likes to pay as a reimbursement rather than a front loading. So for them, they would like to, if we were gonna approach them, that's how we would do it. So we would be paying for that up front.
So with the way this motion has passed, as it stands, can we engage with HERA
Yes, absolutely.
to
Yeah.
figure
you
that
don't-
out?
You don't need to add that to the motion for us
Okay.
to have that direction. So.
Then I do not need to change anything on my
Okay.
end.
Okay. All right.
Good.
All right, we're going to move on to our last action item, which is new and unlisted use mobile food establishment request. Staff has received a new and unlisted use request from owners of 10264 North Government Way, asking City Council to consider the allowance of a mobile food establishment complex.
So Shannon is home sick this evening, and I'm standing in. So you have a memo in your packet that identified that we had an owner that came in for a pre-development meeting, and the use that they wanted was a mobile food establishment complex. And as some of you may remember, in the 2019-2021 timeframe, we did a pilot project
Did you
with.
say 19?
Yeah.
20?
19, 20, 21, someplace in that timeframe.
2019, 2020.
2019, okay.
It was
1920, you don't remember 1920?
Let's say no. Way before my
So,
time.
so kind of in that COVID timeframe, we did a pilot project
Not a good time.
for mobile food trucks, whether they were standalone, kind of landing on a site or what have you. And I think the timeframe of having that food truck pilot project in the middle of COVID was unfortunate, because we get calls for mobile food trucks uses, whether independent individuals or potentially a complex. We've probably heard at least one of those a year since. And so with that request, we identified, this was a question we needed to bring back to the council and see if you were interested in us pursuing design standards. And we actually did bring this to planning and zoning as a temperature gauge, kind of, at their last meeting. Was that last week? Last week. Yeah. And that was a unanimous yes from them when we brought it forward, that we should explore this use and bring that forward as a thought.
To amend your code to allow it.
Yeah, is this, it sounds like it's similar to what's over there on Prairie.
That would be a complex.
Correct.
What's on Prairie would be a complex.
Yes, you want two components. They're either a singular site with multiple relatively stationary.
Is a
mobile
complex.
food vendors
That's a
is a
complex.
complex. And then code separate from that is there an independent site where a food truck could be? Lots of times that's, ancillary to the primary use of the site, like a restaurant has a food truck out front, a grocery store has a food truck.
Trailer
out
of some kind of.
front that moves. So there's two different components.
Just to clarify for the public, though, tonight's action is just simply to task staff to look at Hayden City Code 11.2 and bring back design standards. So we're
Well,
not,
it would go through planning and zoning.
Right.
We didn't want to go through the exercise of taking it through planning and zoning if 3 of you say, we're not interested in food trucks in Hayden.
right, my point is, we're not signing anything new into law, we're just simply exploring.
And part of that question is identified kind of on the second page of the memo. We kind of were looking at some of them being allowed outright and some of them being allowed by conditional use permit. So the ones that are just one at a time uses would be allowed outright, meeting certain design standards that would allow them to be there, parking and.
I don't know that we want to think about it as a conditional use.
And then other ones for the complex, potentially as a conditional use permit.
Yep. that one I can see.
Correct.
Okay, council, we have an appetite for this? Tom?
Oh, I think this is an awesome idea. And great pun there, by the way. I do want to ask Donna, and you may not be able to answer it. In the attachments, it says Hayden City Code 3-7 repealed.
So that was the pilot project, and we
Well-
did it, yes, go ahead.
Was Shannon intending to attach a copy?
She just wanted to, for those of you that had not seen the pilot project code that we had already had, we wanted to include that just as a
It
matter of
wasn't,
reference.
it wasn't there.
I think it didn't get attached.
Oh, maybe it didn't get attached. All right, well,
That's why I asked.
okay, yeah, it was old pilot code that was really directing it more toward a license than a use. We're asking this to come forward as a use, not through a license program.
Any more questions for staff?
Not question, but kind of a comment. My concern about this is that we have restaurants here that pay lots of taxes and have invested probably hundreds of thousands of dollars and employ a lot of employees. These food trucks compete for business now, and they don't pay, if they're a traveling vehicle, they don't pay the property taxes. They hire maybe some employees. So that's my concern, is what our businesses, our current restaurants that invested all this money and been here for a long time, that this is going to create competition for them. That's the thing that concerns me.
As you done?
Yep.
As well as, let's say, a complex were approved, and you had numerous different vendors on it. How would who would pay the tax on that? The complex owner, the landowner of the complex?
Property owner.
Property owner.
Property owner. And would it just be based on the value of the property and not as shared, I guess?
The mobile food trucks are not considered improvements that would add value to the parcel.
So it would just be the value of the land and the value that the food trucks are adding to it would not be considered in the tax?
Each of them individually.
Yeah, the question I asked was, business owners that own mobile food trucks have to pay personal property tax on that. So
To the
they're still-
city?
Would be, yeah, so we get a personal property tax component of our.
Like manufactured homes.
Yes, yes. So yes, we do, they would pay that portion, and it would come, a portion of that does come to the city. It's a line item on our,
I know we're just looking at exploring this, correct? At this point in time,
The question to you guys is, are you interested in amending your code to allow for food trucks in two different components?
Yeah.
Singularly and/or complex?
because I do have to agree with Matt, as far as the established businesses who are here already. And I'm concerned about the effect it would have on them. And then obviously as related to, maybe one or two of them go out of business, and let's admit everything's about tax revenue these days. And so, does this wash, or is it negative, or, I think that type of thing needs to be considered.
so I think it's important that council understand that when we think about economics, there's a component of land use planning that considers economics, but for the most part, from the city's perspective, the lens that we put on is to look at how do we offset an improvement made to private property that would affect the public side of things. So we're looking at parking, we're looking at sanitary conditions, we're looking at impact on our system, so sewer system, all that. We rarely, I don't want to say, get into the issue of limiting the use if it's a use that's consistent with the zoning district. So at this point, our interest from the design standards is going to be from that lens, not from the competitive lens.
So as if we approve a complex, it would be just like another restaurant going up, basically.
It would be a use that currently is not allowed for reasons not of competition, but because of the effects on the public infrastructure that we haven't been able to figure out a way to balance them out. We tried a pilot in 1920, not 1920, but 19/20, and learned that through that maybe it wasn't the best experience for us, and so forth, we didn't move forward with a permanent allowance. But we didn't necessarily look at it from the lens of the economics behind it, or the competitiveness. Is that an accurate statement?
I'm just going to comment here that I think anything that we can do as a city to increase competition and open up opportunity for alternative ways to deliver a product is a good thing. I don't think that people are going to ditch their favorite restaurant just because they can take takeaway from a truck rather than cook their own dinner at home. So I disagree with the previous assessments on economic impact.
I do want to comment really quickly in here that most of the independent, the onesie food trucks are at the request of a brick and mortar building. So they are accessory to a primary use where they're bringing them in.
Which is the
for,
purpose.
They're
purpose. So-
attached to that prime,
Yeah.
basically, it's the same company, just
Yeah.
bringing in
Yeah. The
a
Indian,
mobile element.
the Indian trailer is owned by the Coeur d'Alene Indian restaurant on Second Avenue, I think, as an example.
So I've got 2 points I'd like to make. So I agree with what Tom was saying. So I know a few specific examples of bringing in additional options. We shouldn't look at it from the lens of, oh, that's going to hurt the people that are already there. It increases a competitiveness and it creates a better product. I think the food options in Hayden could be viewed as lacking, and I think that would increase excitement about visiting and traveling to this area, to the downtown district. I think that also for young restaurateurs, their only way to break into the market is by purchasing a food truck or a food cart or whatever. They can't buy a brick and mortar because of how expensive it is. So there's an example of a place called Cultura. They had a food truck right outside of Black Sheep for years, and he took the leap and he opened up, or he took over a brick and mortar right next to where Cane's is now. And he wouldn't have been able to do that if he didn't have his food truck. So I think it's exciting because young chefs can create something. And so that's one piece. And then two, I think it'd be hypocritical for us to have just adopted this family park site plan that has a thing called food truck row without being open to the idea of inviting in food trucks.
All right, does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve the request to allow for the new and unlisted use of mobile food establishment independent and mobile food establishment complex to Hayden City Code 11-2 and to direct staff to draft design standards to bring back to a future meeting.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion on the motion being made? May we get a roll call vote, please?
Council President DePriest?
Yes.
Councilmember Roder?
No.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson?
Yes.
Okay, city administrator report.
Okay, a quick update, just a few meetings that are coming up. I'm gonna try to get these in the right order here. May 28th, we have our second session of our budget workshop where we're gonna be focusing on general fund, our major capital fund, and our 2 impact fee funds. So we're gonna cover a good portion of our budget funds in that meeting. And then on June 1st is our joint HURA meeting, where we pick up where we left off at the last meeting, talking about our joint projects and joint vision. On June 2nd is our Public Safety Commission's quarterly meeting. And on June 11th and in June 13th is our open house style format for our workshop with our law enforcement consultant. The 13th is a Saturday. The idea behind that is we do an evening meeting on June 11th, which is a Thursday. June 12th, the consultant will be reaching out, if he hasn't already, to set up one-on-one meetings with council members and other stakeholders within the community. And then on June 13th, a Saturday, to give an opportunity for members of our community who couldn't make the date on June 11th to be able to come and see, it'll be a redo of the June 11th meeting. So if you can make any of those dates, you don't have to make both of them, although you're welcome to come to both. It is a great chance to get involved with our community and engage at the citizen level. And would highly encourage you, we're always looking for opportunities to integrate council members into events within the city. And that leads me on to the next thing, which is our Memorial Day event, which happened yesterday. I was told by our rec director that it was a very nicely held meeting and that our event, and that there was a lot of people who showed up and that it went well. So thank you for those who came and attended and volunteered your time to be there. And then just the last thing is to circle back to the citizen engagement. I think it's worth taking a pause and recognizing the value of what it means to engage our citizenry. We saw it tonight by the presentation that Architects West has done. You'll see it again, hopefully illustrated in the law enforcement strategic planning exercise that we're doing. And then you're gonna see it also from our clerk and myself in trying to engage you at different points that we feel like will be a good chance to get you out in our community. Please don't overlook those opportunities. Please take a moment to understand that when you say, I wish we could get the citizens more engaged, that partly that is you engaging with the citizenry at some of our events. So please look at those, ask questions, engage with us if you have an interest in something that you would like to look at doing. We want to see these chances come up and for you to take advantage of them. And with that, I have no other updates unless council has any questions.
Any questions for Lisa, council?
Just to clarify, May 28th, then 1st, 2nd, 11th, 13th, but 11th and 13th.
You can choose one or you can come to both if you really are engaged.
Okay.
The only thing I'd add to that is June 15th is our joint planning and zoning and city council meeting.
Speaking of.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to law enforcement. I got a text, our deputies and command staff are attending a significant response event in Hayden tonight, so that's why we're not going to get a report from them. But we do have the paper reports here.
There's an incident going on?
There's a car in the middle of a building over by Walmart,
Yeah, I know.
The car in
a
the,
multifamily building.
in the mid,
Yeah, and it didn't turn out well.
Lower floor.
it's been a bad day. There was a car over the hill and there's something, it's not been a good day.
Okay, so with that, we'll move on to 6C. Does any council member have a report or information they need to share with council?
I have two items.
Okay,
to
Tom.
share. So, thank you to Lisa and the mayor for approving that I go attend the Society of Freshwater Sciences Conference over in Spokane a week ago, Monday. There was a presentation there on the science of the Spokane Valley Rathdrum Prairie Aquifer, and it was very sciencey. I'm an engineer, I enjoyed that. The key takeaways from it, well, first of all, I am trying to collect all the presentation material. I haven't gotten it yet, but once I do, I will share it for historic purposes. But the key takeaways that I got were, we're not anywhere near running out of water now from a consumption perspective, but water usage is definitely having an impact on levels of the aquifer. And with warmer and drier winters and a low snowpack, those are the main reasons. You once saw a presentation by the Aquifer Protection Board on what's called a sensitive aquifer recharge area, and they try to identify where water ingresses subsurface to the aquifer around the county. That's a tool that is being evolved more and more. The last thing is, there was a presentation by a member of Panhandle Health that stated that the critical materials rule safeguards have been passed by ordinance by all of the cities, the major cities in Kootenai County, with the exception of Hayden.
We know, and we've met with them, and I've spoken with them directly. It's on our list of to-dos. It was part of our prioritization when we talked about updates to city code. One of the reasons it's not necessarily been jumped to the front of the line is our requirement that, one, that we don't have a lot of industrial use, and two, that if there is industrial use, they're required to pave those parking lots. And with that, the concern about infiltration of spills is lessened. Not, it doesn't go away, but you don't have near the concern like you would like on a gravel lot or a parcel that doesn't have any compacted soil.
Okay. Number two, it was brought to my attention that there was another presentation on the state of, or on the new state statutes affecting telecom. Trying to find it in here. Bear with me, please. Okay, presentation by the same lawyer who I've told you about before. He is nationally known for, this is like his core competency on writing codes custom-made for municipalities to help with their, how they want to address the deployment of telecom and wireless services. And he pointed out that in 2025, the state legislature updated or passed a new statute 67-6540 that has expanded to include all broadband infrastructure, in his words, ridiculously broad in scope, as to make interpretation more vague, and in his words, creates traps for local government to either miss critical shot clocks or unknowingly violate the Federal Telecommunications Act. So just want to make everybody aware that that's happening.
So with that awareness, were there discussions of ways to prepare or?
Yeah, he's basically he's figured out the solution. It just means more verbiage and our own codes or a municipality's codes.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Anybody else have anything?
Thanks, Tom.
Related to, are we going to have future agenda here next?
That'll be next, but I got real quick.
Okay.
Just for the public's and for council's awareness, I've started a series of blog posts kind of breaking down the comprehensive plan. I know it's about 6 months too late, but I finally started. There's the first couple are up, but it's basically going to kind of break down the goals of the city into digestible pieces for the public. The other thing I wanted to point out is that the Board of County Commissioners is hosting a Kratom open house on June 11th at 6 p.m. I'm still getting emails and random phone calls from citizens on this, so I know we've talked about it very briefly on the dais, but I see this as something that probably isn't going to go away. So I'm just throwing my 2 cents out. I'm planning to attend to see what I can learn, and council, you may desire same. And with that, we'll roll on to requests for future agenda items.
Nobody? Okay.
Go ahead, Ed.
A couple things here, and it was just, the interaction with the community and stuff like that. And I had another little meeting here, surprisingly well-attended considering it was a Tuesday election night. But I'd like to maybe agendize a town hall type of situation where we could open it up and and have the people come in. And the agenda item would be discussion of city events or city issues or something like that. Because the people want to be able to have a free-flowing conversation about a number of things, and I think it allows us to get information out to them. Going to the events is great, but it's really kind of a hit and miss. Hey, how are you doing? Oh, by the way, do you know, this type of thing? Or I don't know how people really, if they're at that event, to really talk about sewer issues and stuff like that, possibly. The second one is on the June 5th.
For clarification on that, just your vision isn't a town hall where they ask council questions openly?
Basically, an open house, some type of forum where the people can come in and there can be city issues, law enforcement, housing, sewer, whatever it is, because there is no real way for people to have discussion with us about it. short of maybe an email, discussion or telephone discussions.
Those are all legislative discussions that you can have with any one of them anytime.
Well, I know, you can have them individually,
Yeah.
but I think when you can get a number of people in the room, instead of, because someone sends you an email, someone phone call. I've found in the meetings that I have, when you have a group of people, you have a pretty engaged conversation, and you're able to disseminate a lot of information. So, again, I know the county does it. They have these type of things.
There's also only 3 county commissioners with without a mayor or anyone else. You're talking about only 3 people operating.
I know that, but I personally think we need to find a way where whoever wants to show up and participate, invite the community, come in, and just have a hopefully civil, because if it doesn't, that's the end of it, type of thing, a platform for people to talk about stuff. Because I know that there's an interest out there for people to have all I can say is a free-flowing discussion on city issues. The second one is our June 15th joint meeting with planning and zoning about the starter home subdivisions and stuff like that. If possible, could we maybe request that Kelly Packer maybe zoom in or something like that?
For what purpose?
Well, because she was involved with the negotiation with Senator Taves. And when you look at the statute that they created, my conversation with her as it was happening at the time, she has suggested that it allows the city to determine what is affordable housing, okay? It allows the city to set various parameters that allegedly Senator Taves, traded, for example. They removed that. They originally had at least 12 dwellings per acre. Well, he took that out, allegedly, in their horse trading that they did. And so I think it would be good to have her be able to explain or discuss exactly what it was that Senator Taves is suggesting that is up to the cities to determine. Because I know there's going to be things going on with this where they're going to say, well, no, that's not in the bill, or that's not what the bill says.
Who's they?
I have a feeling in our discussions, you may even say, nope, that's not the way it works, Ed. You can't, the statute says this, and even though the statute doesn't specifically say this or that.
I'm not saying any of that. First.
No, I know you're not, but you may, in the discussion, you may.
So you think that Kelly Packer can offer information regarding the negotiations to clear up how and why the legislation says what it says?
To some degree, yeah.
Could I interrupt here and maybe help out, Ed? I'll harken back to the 14th of April when I went to the AIC summary meeting down in Coeur d'Alene. And at that time, Kelly had said that Mayor Chadwick and Starr had some good ideas, and they were going to try to collect those ideas as well as others and put them up on the AIC
Well, they're already,
website.
so I get them every week. So
Okay.
every week, lawyers who are interpreting this, mayors, councils, planning and zoning commissions across the state are sending in their suggestions to AIC, and then AIC sends those out in their weekly update as to the information they've received about different interpretations of how to navigate this legislation. So I can forward that to you.
Okay, so maybe, I don't know if it's a replacement or an
Well, I would
alternative, but we could at least
see what others
sift
are
those
saying at
ideas
this
as
point.
part of the
Ahead of the meeting.
topic of
Yes.
conversation.
I'll send them to everybody.
I think you get those same.
I think you get them too, you just have to.
Oh, yeah, I know, but I haven't been following every single email I get from them.
When you get the AIC updates on a weekly
you
basis.
scroll down and
You
there's
have to scroll down, but you are correct. They started a forum for gathering input from people across the state as to interpretations of certain portions of that legislation.
Okay, so Ed's brought up 2 points.
I had a clarifying question for Ed regarding the town hall suggestion of what you're trying to get at. Do you want it to be broad, where concerned citizens bring questions and concerns broadly? Or did you want to have it
I think
approach specific
any
topics?
valid city issue, you know?
Except for upcoming land use.
Legislative, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
not
you can't-
legislative.
yeah, that's a given.
Land use related applications or anything that's currently
Well, things like
has
the
a public
housing bills.
hearing or appeal, or can be appealed.
So,
Well, right, I get what you're saying, things that are possible future items, but to be able to, because the discussion of 1352 took up a lot of time at the meeting I had, because people are not happy about it, okay? And, you know, obviously, this law enforcement situation is going to continue on. But and to answer your question, yeah, I think we should make ourselves available to the people to come in, and if they bring something up, where you say, well, that's a potential future issue that we can't discuss, it's that simple.
Yeah, we can always set the
Yeah, you say, hey,
groundwork.
you know?
Yeah, and Board of
Ground rules.
Commissioners, they only have one commissioner at a time doing it.
Well, that's why it would have to be agendized and noticed and all that other
Right.
stuff.
You have to be able to notice with enough information on the agenda to know what will be discussed. So that's the part.
That's what I was getting at. If
You'd almost have to have a specific topic you'd want to.
Other we list 4 topics.
Right.
well, so, all right, I've been waiting. So Ed, to your first point there, and it could be because we didn't agendize. Lisa and I did Hello Hayden twice with the city where we tried to create that environment. I think we had half a dozen people the first one. The second one person showed up that didn't even live in Hayden, so we dropped it. And again, it could be that I just didn't tackle it intelligently enough, but
All right, 20, 30 people show up.
I guess you're a better looking
Well, I'm
fellow
not,
than me.
I'm not, you know.
Well, people are more comfortable in an environment where there's just a singular speaker. This is intimidating.
I'm going to be honest here. I'm sorry, but I get, and I understand the laws. I get that that's a lot to do with it, but I'm feeling a pushback. Nope, can't do it. Again, can't do it, can't do it.
No pushback.
I just
trying to drill down in what your ask is so that the parameters are clear.
Well, and if I could finish my point, I was gonna say, Ed, what about if perhaps as mayor, I started doing those again, maybe agendize them, that would, certainly a when we have most of our council is called a
Quorum?
Thank you, I'm sorry, just had a slip there. If we had a sub-quorum event where we wouldn't have to agendize and jump through the hoops we do, we
What do you
could,
mean sub-quorum?
like if 1 or 2 council
No,
members
you
showed
don't
up.
have a quorum.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what that means, but so you're talking only 2 council people show up or
Right.
whatever it is.
I'm just saying it would relieve the
councils-
burden, of all the.
So here's the benefit you get of your events that you do, Ed, because we've said you can't be doing it as, speaking on behalf of the rest of council.
Right.
You have to be there expressing your own
Right.
opinions. When you put it in a forum with all of you, you can only respond to the people asking questions based on the consensus of all of you. You don't get the benefit of expressing your individual opinions. So I don't think they're going to actually get the educational component that you're hoping for with all of you present. Does that make sense? Because that's why I was drilling down to try to really understand.
Again, you hit on, I want to be able to educate the people.
Correct.
And, which means somebody says, hey, can you tell us, you know, what do you, well, in a way, and I get it's biased education. Councilmember Schaefer, can you tell us what you think about the housing bills and how would you react to them? You know, what do you think about this or what do you think about that type of thing? And then, you know, how about you, Councilmember Roeder? You know, what do you feel about this or that? Because I don't know. I'm just obviously very frustrated. Number one, having to be trying to get a time at the library that works for everybody and stuff like that, where I truly believe that it could be worked out where we could use this facility here and teach us how to use the alarm when we leave, you know, type of thing.
I don't get a code either, don't feel.
Well, no, but you know, I just think there should be a more user-friendly way
Sure.
to interact with the community so that you can have these discussions like we end up having over there when I have these meetings at the library.
Or recognize those are very valuable and the community appreciates it and it's filling a gap for them. And maybe other council members would want to do them too.
Okay.
Yes, Tom?
I was just going to point out that under your scenario, Ed, that if, say, the four of us were here fielding questions, giving our opinions, I think that crosses a line where we're kind of deliberating in front of each other. And it sways each other's opinions rather than during an official council.
Okay, I'm going to back off, forget it, okay?
No.
No, I agree with what you're saying, I agree with what you're saying. I'm going to amend my whatever here, because you're right, you're absolutely right. I'm going to ask for a future agenda item, can we try and develop a way where we can individually use this facility
For more educational
for more
opportunities.
education of the community?
That I think would work really well.
Okay, I appreciate you clarifying, because I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the rest of council agree with that for a future agenda item?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, just want to make sure we have consensus on the dais.
How many people can attend? One of us to, if,
My guess is.
let's say Tom was gonna speak with people.
2 of you is not a quorum.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's any combination of council or mayor, right?
Correct.
Okay, any other requests for future agenda items? Okay, can we make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.